Barbary Allen here, coming you with the Left Coast Lean. Been thinking, as I'm currently working, I work security in a shelter program, where people that are transitioning from being on the streets into housing have a transitioning program. And working with people that are on the margins, that are really, that are trying to not slip through the cracks or get pulled back up through the cracks, reminds me of when all of this neocon garbage, this contract with America, this whole Make America Great Again, this whole Reaganism, fucking pull yourself up by your bootstraps, blah 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 bullshit. It all seems to come back to Reagan. And man, I knew he was a douchebag when he ran, but God, I didn't realize how much shit he was really starting. But what's really come to mind recently is that, I guess they must have been doing studies during the 70s and the early 80s where they were really finding out about the horror stories behind mental institutions and mental health care and again, the institutions where they're cared for. And back in the 80s, it was almost like the government was tired of hearing that they were screwing up, that these places were nightmares, and that people with special needs or with handicaps or with disabilities were either being mislabeled, being miscategorized, warehoused, or being outright abused. And they just decided that rather than face up to any of those and be culpable or fix any of it, they were just going to play passive aggressive, take the ball and go the fuck home. Like, oh, we can't run any mental institutions? Well, then we'll just close them all and dump them out on the streets, and then you can deal with them, and now see how you feel. Oh, you don't want to warehouse them anymore? Fine. Like, live on your streets. And they literally just shut down all of our mental hospitals all over the country. I mean, I don't know what the percentages were, but it was devastating. And overnight, we had the homeless just on the streets. And sure, they'd go home for a little while, to whatever family members they had, but they ended up out in the streets. And then once they're out on the streets, they start acting out or have behaviors that other people can't deal with. And now they're in prison. And so, literally, like I say, fresh out of high school, fresh out of the Army, I went to work in law enforcement and corrections, and I saw, again, firsthand, that the prisons were filling up with people that weren't criminals. They were mentally ill. They had handicaps. They had disabilities. They had, they had mental impairments. So, I mean, it really depends on the language of the time, but these were not people that were able to take care of themselves. But rather than, fix the shitty system we had, they just eliminated the system. They said, fine, let's let them die on the streets and end up in prison. See how you like that? That was pretty much the Reagan answer. At the same time, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and manifest destiny and take care of yourself and blah, blah, blah. At the same time, you got Nancy, just say no to everything but astrology, I suppose. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, it's back in my face. Seeing some of these people that are in this circumstance where they're homeless and they're right on the verge. They're not really criminals, but they can't really take care of themselves. Because of that, they end up in criminal situations, or they end up being abused or taken advantage of by people that are more criminal in nature or more predatory in nature. I'm seeing it happen. We got a woman that gives her cigarettes to the people at the front desk, and they're only to give her, and this is her own rules. She only wants to be given one cigarette at a time, because if she's got her pack with her, she'll end up giving them all away. She's just too nice. At the same time, she lets people use her crack card. And she's on, state assistance. She's getting, Social Security. And you have people here that are longtime drug abusers and in and out of jail and work in the system, and yeah, they're talking her into buy some drugs. Well, they get her all high, and yeah, it's just, we still haven't fixed that. All the way back from the late 80s, early 90s. Think about it. We haven't had any real mental health system that really was trying to help people before they were in serious problems. Since what, 1985? It's 40 fucking years, man. That's a lifetime. That's a lifetime, man. 40 years. Somebody born in the last, somebody born 40 years ago that was going to have some issues that might have been helped by having a working mental health facilities has spent their whole life without any of it. Any hope of there being any sort of structure or system to help them. Just yet another reason to say, fuck Reagan, and fuck everybody who thinks Reagan was some sort of fucking hero, because clearly what they think is heroic is not. Barbara Allen out here on the upper left edge, up on the left coast lean. See you later.